Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. And yes, we are live streaming across the globe, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, even TikTok at TLSLiveShow. I'm Neil Nix, and today we have, I'm sorry, lost track of where I was going. I'm Neil Nix, and today we have a great show planned. Too much going on, I'm telling you. All right.
Can you all
Say what?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah.
fine.
Yes, we can.
We got all hot topics today. Lizzie wants to discuss some horrible police officers fist bumping an attack on an elderly woman. Yanni is talking about our night sky getting cluttered. Rabi found some interesting TikTok art promos. And I'll be asking, what the hell is going on with that footage of the death of Andrew Brown Jr.? A quick fire will be Rudy Giuliani. And Shenanigans Game Show will be Ask, where the computer will give us random questions to answer. All right, before we get into the show, I have to introduce you to our amazing hosts, our English professor, editor, journalist, and sports savant out of Washington, D.C., Miss Lizzie Enders.
Why is it zoomed in?
I don't know,
So
something
I
happened.
love
Look at
Liz.
Zoom.
I feel like we came back and it just like boom. I mean, my head does
It
feel
zoomed in.
big today.
I mean, you have a big head. You have a big head.
I have big hair. I don't have a big head. Some
Big
people
head.
even know.
You do have big hair.
But hey, what's up,
Love it.
everyone? Happy Hump Day. Glad to see you. It is the middle of the week. It is technically my last Zoom session with Churin until June. Doesn't mean the work stops though. I have probably 200 papers to grade now. So my head is really about to explode, but I'm happy to be here tonight. Almost out of vodka, so I got to get myself together and get it together fast.
All right, that's
Almost.
Almost.
First world problems. All right, our rock star with the rock band Fallen Machine coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario. We have Mr. Robbie Rock.
Unlike Liz, this is all head. This is all head.
This is all head.
Oh, yeah.
All head.
And then coming to you
No,
from.
things are good.
Oh, go ahead, Robbie. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario. Woo. No,
All right.
things are good. Things are good. I've been
Short and
enjoying
sweet.
a Pepsi withdrawal. I've decided to cut that out of my diet, and it's 5 days into it, and it's my body
Very
still
good
misses the
choice.
caffeine. My body
Yeah.
still misses the caffeine, but we'll weed that out.
So what are your
Good job,
withdrawals?
Rob.
Like, do you have the shakes? Do you have the shakes? Like, what's going on?
Nothing bad like that. Just I get mild headaches
The
throughout
shakes.
the day. Just mild headaches. Yeah, no DT shakes or anything. Wasn't drinking that many Pepsi.
So you're fiending.
Good.
All right.
I'm feeding.
All right.
Aw.
And then out of Atlanta, Georgia, our youthful college student, model, actress, and co-host of TLS Unscripted, Miss Gianni Storm.
Hey guys.
Up.
I missed you guys so much. I missed you Sunday. I had
Yeah, we
to
missed
film
you.
for
Welcome back.
I had to film I had to be Hazel E for the day, or Hazel Valentine, sorry, for the
Hazel
day. So
Valentine. Hazel
yes,
Valentine.
so Sunday was fun. But no, summer's in the air in Atlanta. It's been hot for weeks now, and it's probably going to stay that way. So, and my birthday's coming up, so a lot of exciting new things
Oh, Gianni,
Well,
when's your
in 2
birthday?
months.
We don't even know when your birthday is.
Well, Lizzie's birthday is before mine, but every time it starts feeling like summer, I'm like, okay, my birthday's coming. Like I just feel like that.
When's your birthday?
July 7th.
Oh,
Oh,
we
yeah.
think it's like tomorrow. What the heck you
Girl.
talking about?
We got to do the whole Eleanor celebration before we get to July 7th.
That's true. That's true. First is Liz.
All right. Great. Let's start with our quick fire question. All right. Trump's former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was just raided by federal agents. Finally, they were looking for evidence on the Ukraine incident, which led to Trump's first impeachment. What what do you all think was Rudy's initial reactions? Start with Robbie.
Oh shit! Did I clear my browser history?
Lizzie.
Don't touch my hair dye. Don't touch
Gianni.
I was thinking shit just got real.
I figured he probably looked as shocked as he did when Borat walked in on him messing around with his supposedly teen daughter. You didn't see it, check out Borat.
So you think he had his hands in his pants when they came in? You
Right
think
when he had it, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause he was shocked. He's like, what's going on? What's going on?
I wonder
He
if he
was
got
shook.
stress farts when he heard the news.
Best part. All right.
Stress hard, hands in his pants, and the hair dye leaking. That must have been a great visual. Must have been a
He
great
just
visual.
looks so greasy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or the
All from
snot rag. The
Grace.
snot rag. Don't forget the snot
Yeah, the snot rag. Ew.
rag.
What happened?
All right. So it's been so long. Do we think he's going to get prosecuted like all the other Trump cronies? What do you think, Gianni? You think he's going to get prosecuted, or is this just?
I mean, I feel like the fact that they had a warrant and actually busted into his apartment, I think they have some type of something to work with. I think so. I think he'll be prosecuted on something.
Robbie, what do you
Seems
think?
serious at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. He's been involved in so much dirt over the last few years that there's got to be something that's going to stick. There's going to be some paper that sticks to that shit for sure.
Yeah. What you got,
Yeah.
Lizzie? You think so?
Keep in mind, this was a federal. These were the feds. Okay, so this wasn't the state of New York. This was the feds, and it's a new Department of Justice, a new Attorney General in the House. So yes, the likelihood of him being prosecuted skyrocketed.
And what's the prosecution rate on the prosecution rate for the feds is like 90-something%. I mean, they are typically pretty successful.
They don't
So you
look-
mean that they like to wait until they have all
the
and their
evidence.
ducks in a row before they act?
Yeah.
That's smart. Evidence-based
not even
action. That's
pardon.
really smart.
Biden isn't going to pardon him at all if he gets convicted. If he's prosecuted.
You think so? You think he won't? I don't know. Biden might
Nah.
surprise us.
Nah,
Biden might surprise us.
all that shit Rudy talked about Biden and the Dems over the past 4 years.
His son. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Not happening.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my God. If for no other reason, he's gonna not do it for Hunter. He's
Hunter.
gonna not do it
Your
in the
boy
name
Hunter.
of Hunter. Yes. Yes.
All right. If you have never been to TLS before, let me tell you a little bit about us. Our hosts and guests share their truths and opinions with you, call out those lies, and point out any ridiculous shenanigans going on, like Rudy. And on our show, we always try to have some fun with some shenanigans of our own. You can join in the conversation live every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, or listen to the podcast anytime on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. So let's go ahead and get into our hot topics. We're just going to jump right on in.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, the way it works, every show, our hosts bring you topics they want to share. I'll ask them, is it truth, lies, or shenanigans? Our host will talk about it for a bit until time is up. And then we'll go to you, the audience, our online audience, for questions and comments. Make sure you are talking to us online. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We are listening to you. Twitter even, at TLSLiveShow. All right, we're starting out with Andrew Brown Jr. There's definitely some shenanigans going on down in North Carolina. There have been protests and demands for answers after Andre Brown Jr., age 42, was fatally shot by deputies in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. He's trying, Andrew. Did I say Andre? I said Andre, didn't I? Andrew Brown Jr. Apparently, that video footage is so bad, they preemptively declared a state of emergency in North Carolina before allowing the family to view the video. They were expecting protests. His family did watch some of the body cam video on Monday, and said it shows Brown had his hands on a car steering wheel and he posed no threat when he was shot. A private autopsy commissioned by the family found he was shot 5 times, including once in the back of the head. Attorney Ben Crump described it as an execution. And then yesterday, the FBI announced it was opening a federal civil rights investigation into the shooting death. Now, there was video today released of a military-style team driving up in a packed pickup truck. The sheriff's office said that they used the SWAT-style team because Brown was a convicted felon, and had a history of resisting arrest, which meant the procedure was considered to have a higher risk. A bunch of these cops have already quit or retired. Also, just today, with everyone wondering what's on that tape, a judge declined to allow the release of the footage to the public for at least 30 days. So, my question to you and our online audience, what the hell is on these tapes? And do you think it's a good idea not to show the tapes right now? Let's start with Lizzie on this.
I think we all know what's on the tape. I think we all can guess, given what we've seen in the past in situations like this. Use the worst part of your imagination and multiply it times 10, and that's probably what's on that tape. To answer the second part of your question, honestly, I don't necessarily have a problem with the judge's decision here. The right people so far have seen what's on the tape, including the family. So they showed an extended version of the tape to the family today. And unfortunately, I feel bad that they even had to witness that. No one wants to see the murder of their loved one in real time. But I think the judge is onto something here, because at this point, in this moment in time, what does the state of North Carolina have to gain by releasing that tape right now, today, when everyone's emotions are at an all-time high? So I think it may, help the situation if people are allowed to take a deep breath and simmer down. However, if what we think is on the tape is on the tape, they still might have to do a preemptive state of emergency whenever they decide to release it to the public, or it may not ever be released to the public. I mean, it could be a case where, this is only evidence that is released at trial,
Mm-hmm.
nothing before. So the public should be prepared for that as well.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Robbie?
Well, that's what Liz was saying. Just in the state of North Carolina, that dash cam footage would have to be released by the judge. It would have to be an order from the court to release that footage. I can appreciate that they want to complete the investigation before releasing the dash cam footage, but I can also appreciate the furor, why people want to see this video, the outrage, because there's been a history of systemic violence and targeted police brutality against Black people. And if this is another instance of it, and I think that's the only reason why they would declare a state of emergency, I'm very curious. I would like to see what's on that tape. But yeah, I mean, it's like Liz said, that the right people got to see it. The family got to see the footage, and she nailed it
And the
right on the
Now,
head. Who
I should
wants
be clear.
who wants to
The,
see that, right?
the family only got to see an edited 20-second version of it, because they didn't get to see the full tape.
I
Um,
thought they saw the
Yeah.
full tape. They
nope,
didn't see the full tape
they have
today.
not released the full tape even to the family.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Yeah, they saw the 20-second.
yeah,
So
they saw
yeah,
the
it's
shooting and then so 20 seconds following the shooting. That's all they said they
so
saw.
it begs the question. It begs the questions. What aren't they sharing? What's missing from the story? And it's
I feel like there's some
I'm afraid.
dialogue that's missing. I think,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
I think there's some
And if you come
dialogue.
in 7 officers and you're loaded for bear, you're coming in SWAT style, you're expecting a confrontation. Well, then if you're going in expecting a confrontation, you may create a confrontation. You may create a situation. If you're already, I mean, 7 guys SWAT style, that's a lot.
Now,
I
Gianni,
think.
so I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, Gianni, you've had to see a lot of these, being part of the show. I don't know if you would have seen a lot of things that we show on the show, but you've had to see a lot of horrible things, and there's a young college student. I mean, what is going through your head? What do you think is going
Um, I feel like in regards to what could have possibly been on that video, could have been something close to George Floyd. It could have been something that evoked that type of rage or emotion. I think that unlike unlike you guys, I do feel like the video should be released simply because the family wants it to be publicly released. And there's a lot of like Black Lives Matter and just like a lot of like activists that want it to be shown. Not only for them to like get a reaction out of it, but it's for us to really see what happened. And like I feel like it was Benjamin Crump that mentioned it in regards to now we have like technology to actually go through things so that we can see for ourselves like if justice is being served. So I feel like that video is very important. It's like a piece of evidence. It's not just, but I do understand how heavy it can be, and I understand why the judge did that. Like given Chauvin trial just happened, Dante Wright was just killed in a different area, but it all makes sense. It makes sense. But I think that I don't know. I'm almost like all or nothing. I'm a very like cut and dry kind of person. So it's like let's get do all of it since all of this is happening. It's like at once with police killings and these mass killings and just guns and all of these weird things, civil rights, weird stuff happening. I feel like let's just do it all at once. So go ahead and put that out there and like let's see the truth for what it is instead of holding it off
on?
making people not feel as deeply about it when they do finally maybe show it and it's like a redacted version or it's like blurred out. It's weird. I don't know.
So
I
you
don't
want it
like,
raw. You want to know.
yeah,
You want to see the reality of the situation. Yeah, I
yeah.
get that. I get that. I mean, I can appreciate it. I'm I'm a little torn, but I'm more leaning towards. I believe that he made the right decision. Things are like really, really about to just go off down in North Carolina. They are. It's almost like they're hoping to get it so that they can go off. It's like emotions are
And that's
so high.
That's my fear, that
Yeah,
people are sitting by chomping at the bit, waiting for the release of the tape, regardless of what's on the tape.
yeah.
So then they can act.
There's a
And so
group of
that's
people.
why
There's a
I,
group
I
of people
agree.
just ready to show out just to show out. I mean,
Do
we
you
there.
think that
There's
these
always
people
whenever you
will
have
be
riots,
like
there's always two
violent?
groups of people. Hold on a second. So there's always two groups of people in a riot. There's people that protest peacefully who want to get their point
Hmm.
across, but there are people who specifically want to riot, steal, do all the other things. And there are typically
Opportunists.
two group of, yeah, right, and that's just to take advantage of a situation, which is not what we want. So I don't know. I'm kind of like I'm kind of feel like let's let the temper down a little bit. Let's get some of the rioters, those bad actors that are looking for an opportunity, um, so that they don't just have an. I mean, because I want people to protest. When we see this, we need to be out there protesting. We all need to be out there protesting the situation.
But they may always be there. Those people, of course, there's those type of people
It's
that
true.
just riot because like there's a rave. So they may always be there. But I do understand what you guys mean. Like the temperature is hot right now when
It is.
it's very hot. So I understand, but I don't know. I just feel like go with the momentum, read the room. Like, why would you not
But
show
that's
people
my
the
point.
people that have good intentions with the video, not the
But
people that are like,
that's my point.
Mhm.
Read the
Hey,
room. The room right now says no. Now is not the time. And again, it's not mandatory that the tape be released to the public. It could
yeah,
be
it's not
ever.
held
mandatory.
until
Yeah.
trial as part of discovery, and then that's when the prosecution, if they haven't seen it already, which I'm sure they have, but the prosecution would have the opportunity to share it with the family. But as a part of public domain, like they don't have to show it to
It's
us.
true.
Um,
Hmm.
so it's one of those things where I think we've gotten to a point now where situations like this, you do have to read the room. And you do have to say, am I showing this for the greater good with the consequence? And if so, does that consequence outweigh the public's right to know?
Yeah.
So
It's a tough. It's
Yeah,
a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean,
it's a very,
I,
it's a very tough
because I
decision.
really want to know what happened. I want to see. I ultimately want to see the entire video. I'm not gonna lie.
The
I want to see
family
the
really
entire
needs
video
to know what happened, like the entire video, like you said,
because
they
I'm
do.
tired of this shit being swept under the rug and people not, trying to hide behind, thing. I mean, these cops have been hiding, and you have a topic a little bit later next that we're gonna go over it. I mean, these cops are just bad. There's so many bad cops out there, and yes, there are good cops. I'm not saying that they're all bad. There are good cops out there, but there are a lot of bad cops, and
Mhm.
I'm just tired. We have to make a change. A change has to happen.
So in the comment section, Mike Winter said, holding back the video is not going to prevent the riot, might delay the protest, also might not. And I agree with that.
Yes,
However,
I agree.
I, giving everyone a chance to take a breath also gives the city, Elizabeth City, the state of North Carolina, the opportunity to prepare for what could be coming, and prepare in a way where they're not necessarily as aggressive as they normally would be. Hopefully,
Hmm.
prepare in a way where they don't take military tactics against protesters. Prepare in a way where BLM steps in and says, everyone, we can
Calmly.
protest, but we need to do it calmly. So I think, yeah, I
Yes.
think everyone at this point just needs to take a breath, needs to take a breath. And people need to, if you are an activist in North Carolina, in Elizabeth City, you need to do your job and calm people down. Don't incite anything. Because the last thing we need is another situation where people are rioting and potentially get hurt. And the more we see these types of situations, the more violent they're going to be. I think overall, we've been fairly lucky that most of the damage with a lot of these
Property
protests,
damage.
when they turn violent, have been property damage. That's not going to be the case if we keep this up moving forward.
There are a lot of people that say, "Burn it down, let it burn." That's part of the protest. If rioting is what happens, and there is a faction of rioters, so be it. That's just part of the protest. That's how you get
Burn what
your point across. What do you guys think on that?
burn what down though? And a lot of times the people who are saying that do not live in the cities that they're talking about.
Mhm.
They are on the periphery. They are living in other cities in the comfort of their own home, protesting in their living rooms. They are not
And
in the center of what's going on. Now, do I think people need to get out there and make their voices heard? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I kind of, in some respects, when people say burn it down, what do you mean? Burn what down?
mm,
Hmm.
Burn your
in the U.S.
neighborhood
and
down?
Canada,
Burn
we're
down?
fortunate. We're very fortunate in North America that we have freedom of assembly. We have
Mhm.
that right to assemble, peaceful assembly. When a peaceful assembly, through peaceful assembly, you can get a message across. You can drive a message across. When the rioters, when the opportunists latch onto what you're doing, it really taints your brand. It taints your message. It detracts from what you're actually trying to do. I get that violent protests and rioting absolutely gets media coverage and gets a lot of attention. It really helps to draw to the issues at hand. But if you riot, you're going to screw up everybody else's right to that peaceful assembly, and that's something that we need to protect. So I really echo what you're saying, Liz. If you're showing up, keep people calm, let heads level.
And also, riot recovery is never fair, to especially to the innocents who get caught up, to the people who lose their businesses, to the people who lose their property, to the people who could potentially lose their homes or be hurt. No one ever thinks about the aftermath of a riot. And I
Sure.
understand the intent. I understand the passion. I understand the anger. And I understand that something needs to be done. But if we're going to riot, let's not riot randomly. If we're going to riot, riot with a purpose that is going to provide a means to an end, not just randomly going down the street, burning down shops, burning down people's property that have nothing to do with the issue at hand.
All right. We've got a ton of comments online, so I'm gonna try to get to a bunch of them. Jacqueline Robbins says no one wants to see an edited 20-second tape. Straight up bullshit. Um, Ernest Cooper says I can't imagine the trauma that the family had watching that tape. Sherry Blaine Priest says I don't know about anyone else, but I think full investigations are in order. Full disclosure must be part of our narrative going forward, whether that be an immediate persons affected. It is a way to begin to continue. Documented occurrences need to be made available in full. Jose says, what are they hiding? Alan says, I agree with the judge's decision, as this can be as simple as nothing is there. But in this state of affairs, the public will certainly find something. That being said, it can be a horrifying event. Time will tell, but it doesn't discount public perception.
I almost want to sit back like this. Like my head is so big on
Yes,
the screen.
something happened to you. The camera just zoomed in all of a sudden. Sherry Blaine Priest, Jacqueline Rob says, thankfully we have a DOJ, Department of Justice, that isn't going to sweep these things under the rug. Let's see. Holding back Mike Winter, holding back the video is not going to prevent the riot. You read that. Yep. Let's see. Mike Will says, if what's on the video is bad enough that it would cause riots, it's bad enough that the cops should be arrested and charged already.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, that begs the reason, why hasn't that happened? I mean, if we're talking, there should be no reason to hide the video if it's, well, I guess it still could be a reason to hide the video. I mean, sometimes there's certain situations that can be perceived a certain way. That may or may not have been a certain way. Take, for example, the young lady in, was that Columbus? Was it Ohio? Who had the knife and was going and was shot by the officers.
Oh, yeah.
So initially, it looked like she was just shot by the officers for no good reason. And, the body cam footage, well, other footage showed something different, which was fortunate in that situation. But, it could be misconstrued by the what's on that tape. We don't know.
I think one of the things we have to take into consideration is we now live in a news cycle where all of the news we get is immediate.
Yeah.
It's a 24-hour news cycle.
Yes.
We are used to getting things in real time right away.
Yes.
And so when something like this happens, the public expects immediate action without an investigation and without due process. And when I say due process, I'm not saying that in respect of me, being on the side of law enforcement. However, everyone deserves due process. Everyone deserves an investigation. Even the criminal, even the police officers. And so for something like this, where you don't necessarily want to have everything or decision made automatically because you may not trust the police department, you want an independent panel, an independent investigation, someone with fresh eyes to come in and assess everything. So that's why I think it's taking a little while. And I think you said, Neo, that some officers have already quit or
retired.
Retired, which is unfortunate because that means they'll get a pension. But these things take a little bit of time. Now, it shouldn't take 6 months. It shouldn't take a year, but it's not going to be something that happens overnight also.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, we've got to get on to our next hot topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
And this one is from you, Lizzie. It's just as deep. Cops doing badly. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
It's bullshit. And I think maybe we may need to start adding bullshit.
Bullshit.
Truth, lies, shenanigans,
bullshit.
The title of the program, because it's just getting so outrageous in this country with the amount of bad behavior that we are witnessing by law enforcement. due to, for the most part, body cams or camera phones, people recording what's happening. So in this instance, we're going to my old stomping ground, the state of Colorado. This happened in Loveland, Colorado, and I've actually been to Loveland before on
I
several
have too.
occasions.
Mhm.
Um, but a video was released this week showing Loveland police officers laughing at footage of their arrest of a 73-year-old woman with dementia. They basically manhandled her, threw her to the ground. They hog-tied her over an allegation of shoplifting at a Walmart for merchandise for $13. Okay. And so the outrage has now come not only in the brutal
$13.
arrest of this woman. Her name is Karen Garner. So the outrage is not only as a result of her arrest, but the officer's reaction subsequent to the arrest when they're in the police precinct, when they are booking her, filling out her paperwork, and watching video footage of the arrest, and they're laughing and they're mocking what happened. Neo, do you have the video?
Absolutely.
So this is footage from inside the precinct. So the two officers that you see there are the two arresting officers. The middle video is of our Gamma, Miss Karen Garner herself. So,
I'll turn it down a little bit so you can talk over.
yeah. So and again, she was accused of trying to walk out of Walmart with merchandise worth $13. The security at Walmart, the staff at Walmart, they confronted her. That they were actually able to get the merchandise back from her, so she did not steal anything. They got it back from her. They say they called the police because she was becoming aggressive. Okay, fine. She's 73 and she weighs 80 pounds and she has no weapons. So the police roll up on her as she's walking down the street. She's walking home. And this particular officer here, when he encounters her for the first time, he jumps on her within seconds. He initially, greets her, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" She turns around, and when she turns around, you can see automatically that she's not quite there, that something's not quite right. She's looking all over the place and she just says, "I'm going home. I'm trying to go home." And then that's when he aggressively engages her and then takes her down, like forcibly takes her down to the ground, handcuffs her. And eventually, as they go back and forth, because she's constantly saying, "I'm trying to go home. I'm trying to go home." She's not fighting the officers. She's not doing any harm to them whatsoever. But when they're trying to get her into the police car, they say to her, "Stop resisting." She's not really resisting, she's asking questions. So then they hog tie her. They hog tie her. And so as they are watching this video of the arrest, it turns out that she was severely injured. Her shoulder was dislocated, her wrists were injured. And so, in a conversation as they're watching this video, one of the officers says, "Hear the pop?" "What pop?" another officer asked. "I think it was her shoulder," he says. On Sunday, her lawyer, in the lawsuit that was filed, they admitted it to add more officers as defendants to the lawsuit. And so then one of the officers says, "Can you stop it now, talking about the video? I hate it." The officer that took her down says, "I love it. This is great. I can't believe I threw a 73-year-old woman to the ground." And then they fist pump. And then they fist pump. So my question to the panel is it because everyone's talking about police precincts, law enforcement officers need more training. Is this a matter of poorly trained officers? Can you untrain this behavior? Or is this something far more sinister? I see Rob's, mind churning and turning over and over. What do you think?
I don't think that this is a police training issue. I think it's a complete lack of empathy on the part of these particular officers. I can appreciate, as a police officer, they're part of a team, the shared feeling of success, taking down a perp. But you know, good job, well done. You scored one for the good guys. But tackling a 5 foot tall woman who weighs 80 pounds doesn't make you tough, macho. It isn't commendable. There are so many ways that this could have been handled. And then the fist pumping after the fact. I'm sorry, these people are in need of a psych evaluation because they're not right in the head. We've discussed this. We've brought it up many times that a lot of people that migrate towards law enforcement have psychopathic tendencies. And these people are definitely demonstrating some of those markers. They need a full psych eval because to feel braggadocious about taking somebody down who weighs 100 pounds less than you do when you're in full gear and have backup, you didn't practice your police training whatsoever. You were looking to, I don't know if they were just taking their frustrations out on someone that day or if this is just what's built into that precinct, if that's part of their culture, but it needs to be dismantled and it needs to start with these officers that are being observed just being acting in a very despicable way. Very despicable way.
Yeah. Johnny?
Gianni?
Looks like Gianni's, yeah, Gianni's
She's
not
like
there.
Elsa.
She's-
Frozen.
Okay.
I
She's
think
Elsa.
that.
Oh,
Oh,
We can hear you.
We hear
There
she
you
is. She's, it looks like she just caught
There you
up.
go.
hey, there you
There
are.
you go.
Looks like she caught
got
up.
okay.
What were you saying, Gianni?
Okay. So, I was just gonna say that. Oh no.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. Keep talking.
Hold on.
Just keep talking. Talk through it. We'll figure it out.
You guys hear me?
Oh, no, she's
Okay.
she's
Yes, we
delayed.
can.
Okay. So I was just saying that I was gonna say that I think that it isn't a lack of training. I think that it is something more sinister because of the
Yeah.
fact that the officers, um, sorry, it's lagging really bad.
Yeah, it
Let's
is.
give her a chance to
Yeah.
catch
All
up.
right.
Let's
Well,
give her a
Almost
chance.
feel like I can hear
okay.
my.
All right, Johnny. We'll come right back to you. We'll come back to
Give
you.
me a second, guys.
See if it
I'm
catches
sorry.
back up. But here, this is proof of what I've been saying for a while, right? The problem with the cops is bigger than just racial inequality, right? The overarching problem with cops is their sedition. You know, it's the sheer evil of so many officers, and this is what I was mentioning earlier. You know, like Rob just said, police is one of the top 10 jobs for psychopaths and sociopaths, right? So where race comes into the picture is it's very similar to this elderly woman, right, with dementia. Easy target. Easy targets. Why? Because they can get away with it. And therein lies the problem because throughout history of the country, killing, hurting, maiming black people has not only been okay, it's been glorified and encouraged, right? So the cops attack other groups of people, sure. Sure they attack, you know, drug addicts, homeless, elderly, Latinos, of course, black people. And this video shows the sheer joy they get out of it. Doesn't matter who it is, it's just an easy target that they can get away with, right? Because you know, a young 73-year-old with dementia, she's not going to fight back. She's not going to complain. If it
And
wasn't for video, nobody would have known.
she was offering no resistance. She wasn't hitting the officer. She didn't spit on them. She didn't kick at them. She wasn't cursing them. None of that. None
Easy
of that.
target. That's all it was about. And then think about like the Chauvin when he's standing on his neck, right? The complete disregard on his face, right? The complete lack of concern for human life passing away, right? Policing needs to change from the ground up, right? You know, these people are trying to get jobs as cops, these psychopaths. That's what they're trying to do. These personality types should not be hired or passed around. They need psych evals. They need to
Yeah.
figure out how to make sure that these type of people are not finding their way into law enforcement because it's going to continue. It's not going to stop.
It also
And
it should
ongoing
also
services, support services when they're on the force, Neil, because this is a traumatic line of work that can
Sure.
absolutely wear a
That's
person
fair.
down over time. And they absolutely need the same support services that we do because they witness the worst of the worst, whether it's out in the community or within their own precinct. that they're witnessing this shitty behavior on the part of humans. A lot of these people, I know that if I worked in that day in, day out, I would need some help just to get my head out of that space. Every now and then, I would absolutely need help. I'm not wired for it.
And then the culture behind it as well. Go ahead, Lizzie.
It should also be noted, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, that they knew she was injured. And so in the video where
They
you
did.
see her
Yeah.
sitting in a holding cell, that's while they are outside mocking her, making fun of the pop in her dislocated shoulder, and laughing and fist pumping. So
Give her
while
look
they're
at.
sitting there, she's in the holding cell, unattended. They never, she sat there, I believe, for 6 hours. They didn't call anyone to come help her, to treat her, nothing.
In the
And
video, you can
so,
actually hear them, the same conversation going through the door.
and so
Yeah.
it just it
She's
shows how sadistic they are. It reminds me of a situation that was in New York, maybe 4 or 5. I believe it was in Queens. There was an elderly Asian man walking across the street. He didn't speak English very well. He's walking across the street against the light, so he's jaywalking at this point. Cops approach him, not to help him across the street. It was obvious that he couldn't walk any faster. They took him down. They took him down in the middle. They tackled him. They accosted him. They made fun of him because he couldn't speak English. And so the end result was they were trying to arrest him. When they showed his face was all bloodied and battered. He
yeah.
was confused and he could not communicate what was going on. And he did not understand why these police officers were attacking him. And my thing is, your job, you take a vow to serve and protect. You couldn't help this elderly man across the street. You couldn't have, I mean, he's not posing a threat to anybody. Just help him across the street. Pick him up if you have to. But don't tackle him and beat him and hurt his arm and bloody his nose. And so, like both of you have said, there's something wrong with the psyche of these police officers that they are recruiting and allowing on the police forces that does not allow for proper interaction between themselves and the public. And now that we have all of these videos, all of these avenues to expose it, we're going to see cases like this, not just with Black people, but like Neo said, with the vulnerable people in our society. We're going to see this over and over and over again.
Gianna, you want to get some thoughts in?
Yes, I think that just following up with what you guys have mentioned, the police officers feel like they can go against their training because if you have seen part of the video, there was a part of the video that the male officer said, or he asked the female officer, did she turn off her body cam? And then there was also a part where he said something like, the blue team got it. I used force. Almost his aggression. So it's like, I think purposeful, it's not that they're not trained. Now, this video showed me that it's not that they're not trained or they're lacking this training. It's more so that they're going against it and that they're purposely going, even amongst their higher up. You know what I mean? They're breaking rules, basically. But most importantly, I wanted to mention that it like actually, what were you going to say, Liz?
No, go ahead, John.
I was,
Okay.
yeah, I would continue your thought.
I was just gonna finish with what Karen's family had mentioned, that they changed her life. Um, they said that their mother was forever changed after that scenario. She was very like bold and confident, and now she's super sad and fearful. And she loved to be outdoors, and now she's always inside. So this not only like kills people in physically, but it also is killing their lives, like their outlook on life. So
It's damaging them, psychologically. Again, they hog-tied her. They didn't just put her in handcuffs, they hog-tied her, which I think is just absolutely ridiculous. But both Gianni and Mike Winter put in the comments that a lot of training, in a lot of training for police officers, they do try to weed out these like sociopath types. It depends on the police department.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
can tell you,
I agree with you.
in New York City, NYPD, this was the protocol. And that has been consistently for decades.
They're taking
One of the
ex-military.
about NYPD. I mean, this is the, police department that championed stop and frisk, that championed, being overly aggressive towards Black people, towards women,
Specifically.
towards people in certain neighborhoods, under the direction of Rudy Giuliani, who was raided today, might I add. So it depends on the police department. In some police departments in this country, this is normal protocol.
Yep.
This is how they're trained. Or the fact that someone may have a sadistic characteristic is overlooked. Or
Well,
it's just like, well,
some police departments look for that
yeah,
because
exactly.
they want aggression. They want people who are going to be able to, because as Robbie said, these are life and death situations you're placing people in. So sometimes sometimes it requires aggressive personalities, right, to be able to deal with that.
Daria Winter just pointed out that the Trump administration said training was wasteful and defunded training. So there you go. So there you go.
Trump was a blip in our history, so thank God he's gone.
We're gonna feel.
Oh yeah, you're right.
After effects of that for a long time.
I mean, yes. To his Supreme Court. You're right. He was a bad blip at a bad time in history.
I'm sending virtual hugs, to our Gamma, Miss Karen Garner, because no one deserves that.
Yeah.
No one deserves that.
No one does.
At all.
I mean, that's just let's get to some of these comments. I know you read a few already. So Jeanette Brown says narcissists, including psychopaths, are drawn towards police work as a justified way to exert power and control over people they treat as less than. Exactly. Sherry Blaine Priest, seriously, this story is disgusting and there's no empathy in this example. These types of people do not belong in the police service. Let's see. Alan said, sad reality of life, no different that a cook spitting in food was returned. Hold on. Alexa's over here listening to me for some reason. So I don't know what's going on with Alexa. Anyway, sad reality, no different that a cook spitting in food that was returned. 100% dick move, but it happens at all levels. Human nature is not equal. Although some of us cringe at this behavior, others relish in it.
Is that Dr. Alain?
Yeah, doctor.
No,
oh, that's a different Alain?
No, it's not Dr. Alain. This is both in Sudbury. That's Alain Carrière is an old school friend and actually one of José's former co-workers. So, yeah.
Welcome.
Baxton says, only a wimp would do that to an elderly woman with a mental disorder. Oh, by the way, Sherry Blaine Priest says, yes, please add bullshit to the category. Oh, we've also got Symphony. Who is this? Symphony. Ballad. This is on TikTok. I think mocking the unfortunate circumstances of an arrest is a violation in itself. They do their job due to laws, not on your individual emotional insensitivity. Can't read for some reason.
And how do you, as a police officer, how do you not know that you're being recorded in the police precinct? How do you know? How are you not aware of that? That in itself is just like, you're not too bright. You're not too bright, bruh. You're not too bright.
Now, these officers need to just take a moment, reflect, think of their elderly relatives, think of their mom and dad, and go, man, like if they had dementia, how would I want police services to deal with a loved one? This one was bad. Yeah. This one was bad.
Let me just add this very quickly. I know we're running low on time, but years ago in New York City, there was when I lived in Midtown, there was an elderly woman who was obviously suffering from dementia, some type of mental ailment, who would stand on the corner and in the middle of oncoming traffic and try to stop the cars, yelling at the cars or whatever. And she was not, clearly about her wits. And so I would try to help her get across the street. And when I would try to help her, she wasn't nice to me.
Mm.
at all. Called me every name in the book. However, as a human being, I wasn't going to let her get hit by a car. Like, the least I can do is get her on the sidewalk. And I'm not a police officer. I haven't taken any oath. And so I just don't understand why a lot of these law enforcement persons, are not holding that oath that they took true to their hearts. Like, what are you doing? What do you do? Serve and protect.
It's their own
Serve.
interpretation of what that is. That's the problem. All right. Thank you for the hot topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Gianni, we're going to switch gears a little bit. The stars aren't quite aligned anymore, huh? Is this truth or is it shenanigans?
We can't see them.
Oh, Gianni, I think we're struggling again.
These are some shenanigans. Is it struggling again?
Yeah, I don't know what's
Just
going
keep
on.
talking. Even if
Keep going. We can hear you.
Okay.
Just keep.
So I will bring to you guys this article that I found online. It talks about the night sky. So even in the darkest places on Earth, humankind is beginning to interfere with the view of the sky. Billions of stars that light up the sky haven't been as visible due to the increasing space satellites. More specifically, Elon Musk's SpaceX launching now more than 1,300 small satellites into space as part of its Starlink internet service. So
1300.
there are more plans, 1,300, yep.
Wow.
There are more planned satellites to launch soon. A United Kingdom-based space company plans to have about 30,000 satellites up one day. Obviously, not any day soon, but eventually that's their goal. So satellites block the view of telescopes, ruining the images for astronomers that they need to conduct studies and track meteorites in space. This isn't light pollution. However, this is satellites invading the sky. Caitlin Casey is an astronomer at the University of Texas, and she put it best: the fact that one person or one company can take control and completely transform humans' experience of the night sky, and not just humans, but every organism on Earth, that seems profoundly wrong. Question to you guys: how do you feel about this, and who will save the night sky?
Who will save the night sky? All right, let's start. I want to hear Robbie because Robbie is the nerd.
So while I applaud the efforts
Yeah, we all
of
are.
Starlink to provide internet for everyone, no matter where you are on the planet, the hippie in me, the naturalist, really has to take a step back and really think about this, because we already have a lot of space garbage, and to think that these corporate entities are just going to keep throwing more up there to further their pursuits and their endeavors, while there is some benefit for the human race, there's a lot that goes wrong. Our night skies are crucial to protecting our ecological health. A lot of animals, birds, and insects that travel at night use the moon and stars to navigate. And these artificial lights can really distract and lead wildlife off course. And not to mention that when these satellites are up, they do throw off some light pollution, just even if it's a sliver of it. I know that there's a new observatory that's being built in Chile that does a wide shot of the sky, and you can get, I believe they said 40 moons wide. So like that's a big slice of the sky. But once you have all of these little micro satellites up there, you won't be able to ever get an image without having that artificial light. And then you have to correct for it, you have to compensate for it. And it also diminishes our ability to see beyond. And we're really, I mean, that's part of what we're doing. We're looking for class M planets out there. That is, I think, one of the long-term goals for humanity. But it's if we want just internet everywhere, we're going to diminish our chances to explore other areas that may advance us.
Yeah.
Bad for the critters.
I think this is another example that humans are innately imperialist. Humans have, we just, our automatic inclination is just to go and impose ourselves on territories where, in many instances, and a lot of occasions, we have no business. Um, it's not the sky's fault that these people live in rural areas in the middle of nowhere and they can't, get internet. That's a personal choice. And so, yeah, I think, in one respect, it's cool that, we're giving people access to a technology that they wouldn't normally have, but at what cost? At what cost? I don't think it's cool. I'm not really for it. Um, I don't want to look up into the sky and think I'm seeing stars, but then again, no, I'm really seeing a Elon Musk satellite. Like that's not where I want us to go with technology and with our advancement. I think we all need to take a step back, put our billions by the wayside for a second, and kind of gauge how this is going to affect future generations. Because, like Rob just said, there's a lot of space garbage out there.
I've
There's
been
a
corrected
lot.
by Kevin Thaxton. Space debris. Garbage gets collected. The debris leaves, and that's a space officer joke. So thank you, Kevin Thaxton.
As an English
Yeah,
professor,
he's part of the Space Force. He's on the Space.
as an English professor, semantics. So again, there's a lot of space garbage out there. And at this point, we don't know, the negative effects that it's having on the atmosphere, that it's having on not our life forms, but other life forms that might be there that could trickle down to us as well. So yeah, I'm not in favor of all of this. I'm not in favor of all of this. Like, you know, internet service is a privilege. It's not a right.
Yeah.
And so we need to really, try to scale down how we view this and how we are going to move forward with this, and at what cost.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I watch a lot of movies, or I just want to point out. So Kevin Thaxton said Morpheus called it. It was us that killed the sky. Or Morpheus from
From the Matrix.
from the Matrix, from one of my favorite movies of all time. But with that being said, I don't know. I've watched a lot of movies, and I've been looking forward to being able to look up in the sky and see like a whole world or a whole nother. Maybe I can travel to another, city in the sky. And, a separate moon. I don't know. I've been looking forward to it. I don't know if you remember Total Recall. There's a bunch of other movies where you have like cities in space.
But
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sorry.
But space
So
might not want you. That's what we don't take into consideration. Space may not want you. It might not be a place for you.
we got to expand somewhere.
Space is not a place for humans. No. Space kills.
Neither is water.
Like
But
I
we're in
said,
water.
the innate nature of humans to be imperialists, thinking that we have a right to all space.
I'm excited. More space. Let's
Excited
get
for
more
what?
space stations. I want to see.
Mhm.
I want them so
Barely
big that I can see them.
here. You're barely going to make it out of the atmosphere.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a nerd. But I'm looking
But
forward
there's
to
water
Star
on
Wars and
Earth.
the big Death Star, and I can see it all. Yeah,
This is
I'm
not
looking forward.
Hollywood. This is not Hollywood.
I'm,
No,
Hollywood.
but
I think the
Hollywood
only thing
leads
that's
our technology,
scary is
leads us to the future.
Hollywood leads a lot of our ignorance and our idea that
True. I can't
that's
disagree
what
with that.
reality
Can't disagree with that. But I mean, think of Star Trek. Star Trek is the reason we have phones, smartphones, like flip phones and things like that. Because that's the flip phone. They wanted to design a flip phone and things like that, a portable phone device that you can talk. You wouldn't have this if it wasn't for Star Trek, and they're communicators. And
And I
then
mentioned
think
this.
about the little things in the communicators
I
on
wow.
the
mentioned
Star Trek where they
this
press the button to
ago.
talk.
I
Same
mentioned this
thing.
a couple of weeks ago.
Bluetooth.
If you want to
Yeah.
think about Hollywood, go back and watch the Twilight Zone episode "To Serve Man," and what happened to those people that got on the rocket, that got on the space
Yeah.
shuttle, that went out to it supposedly to another planet to live for like 100 years. They got eaten. They were a part of human soup. Space may not
Okay.
be for
See?
us.
Hey, I'm ready for it. Give me a ticket. Give me a ticket.
If you get eaten,
Yeah.
if you get eaten out there, I'm more than willing to take over the show. I'm more than willing.
No, because Elon Musk has made sure I'm gonna have internet out there, so I'm good. That's
Elon
my.
Musk is too busy trying to, jockey in position on whether he's going to be the biggest, the wealthiest person on the planet. He didn't think about you out in space. He didn't think about you in space.
Elon Musk gonna take care of me and my internet needs. So, Gianni, what are your final thoughts? Or
Yeah.
what are your final thoughts, Gianni? I think she's still lagging a bit. All right.
I don't know why my internet. I
I don't
know
think
what it
it might be. I think
is.
it's. I
My
mean,
phone
I think
too.
it's the phone actually.
But
I don't
you
think
guys,
because your internet's rolling pretty smooth. I think it might be your
if
phone.
you guys can
Need
hear
to worry
me,
about Gianni's internet here.
my final thoughts.
Gianni's internet is actually
Worry
rolling pretty smooth. It's not. It's not her
Worry
internet. I
about
think it might be the
Gianni in
phone.
Atlanta. Worry about Gianni in Atlanta first.
Yeah,
All right. It's all right. So let's get to some of the comments online.
exactly.
Okay. All right. So Jacqueline Robin says we loused up the planet Earth, so now we want to go to other planets and mess those up.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Heading to Mars. Heading to Mars. We're gonna start doing some stuff.
You cannot.
So we put a
survive on
helicopter
Mars.
up there, right in Mars.
You cannot survive on Mars.
Yes, you can. You just have to make it happen. People surviving in space itself.
I thought you had an affiliation with NASA. I thought you were a little bit smarter than this.
Which is why I have some knowledge.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
All right. Kevin Thaxton says life imitates art and vice versa. Let's see. Elaine says internet is fast becoming a right as opposed to the privilege we once knew. Everything is being connected as we as a race are okay. Sorry, can't make out the rest of that.
It's
Um,
not. You can't pay for it. It's not a right if you can't pay for it.
well, hopefully they'll make it free at some point.
Yeah, right. In what country? On what planet?
I mean, they've been trying.
Well, actually, in Canada, Canadian lawmakers did declare that access to inexpensive, dependable, and fast
Hello,
internet
wow.
connection is a basic right for all Canadians. And even more so now, like Vanessa Cadell was saying in the thread, it depends on where you are. I know that there have been a lot of
not happening
infrastructure
in
projects
America.
for remote areas, but it
Not
is a basic
Oh, yeah.
human right in Canada,
Not in a
and more
capitalist
so now
society.
during COVID, when we're doing distance education, everyone is isolated. That internet connectivity is something that people
Listen,
need.
Rob, you may not be aware of this, but there are certain internet service Wi-Fi plans in this country during the pandemic that have changed the plans for their customers, to which they are charging more for data usage. During the pandemic, when they know that people are at home, working from home, doing in-home schooling, all of that stuff, they're charging more now outside of the original plan for data usage. Again, America is all about the dollar bills, y'all. You guys have a better healthcare system than we do.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening in Canada. In here, in these United States, the internet will never be free.
It's capitalist society. I kind of agree with Liz. I don't think it'll ever happen here.
True.
I just want to point out V527 on V.527 on I think that's Instagram. She says Groupon was selling land on Mars. Hard to believe, but they did. Yeah, they were selling. You know, they sell stars too.
Who's
Wow.
building on that land? Who's building on that land? Have they broken ground on that land up there?
I think I remember the moon being sold at one point.
Listen,
What do they got going on?
if you listen to Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry, the moon landing was a whole, it was a folk. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. We still have these flat earthers here as well.
Those flat Earth. All right, let's get on to the last time.
Those flat earthers.
Truth, lies,
That was a fun
shenanigans.
topic, Gianni. I like that one.
Me too. I
All
like that.
right, Robbie. You've got some artwork you wanted to share with us. Let's see what you
I
got. Truth, lies, or shenanigans?
This is truth and some fun shenanigans.
And culture.
Right now,
And
like
culture.
right, like
Culture.
culture, education. There's so much negative news out there, and we've been covering it for weeks. It's an endless news cycle. So I really needed to find something a little bit more joyful to share with everyone today. And I came across the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. And since the pandemic and all of the hardships that they've had to endure, because Italy has had a lot of lockdowns and had some really high COVID numbers to contend with, this particular gallery in Florence, Italy, adapted by making memes out of their artwork on TikTok, and it's been catching on. It is funny, and it exposes people to some really beautiful classical works of art. And Neo, I know that I've got a couple, so that were my favorites. But
All right,
please, I
I
want to
got you
share
covered.
this with our audience.
I got you.
I like boys, I like pets, like them arms when they flex, like that print in their sweats. Tell them girls, thank you next. I like when they text me sexy pics of them, like them abs when there's 6 of them. Tell them girls, I'm sorry. I like boys.
Love is
Yeah,
love.
that's cute. That was
Love is
funny.
So
love.
for those on the podcast listening, they were just showing images of male sculptures, nude,
Yeah.
nude male
Nude.
sculptures. That was funny.
Nude.
All right, I play the next.
What's one question you hate being asked?
Why don't you smile?
Good question. Why don't you smile?
I'm smiling on the inside. I feel that I have a responsibility to the fashion community.
And the reason why that one's funny, here's the meta moment. The name of the painting is called La Bella, and it's the portrait of an unknown woman by Titian, painted around 153. So the fact that La Bella is commenting about the fashion industry, that just tickles me.
That's so funny. Yeah.
B527 says, I love
Wearing
the
Gucci.
sculptures.
Wearing Gucci.
All
Bet you
right,
she's wearing Gucci.
all right. Here's another one. All right, let's play this one.
Mom,
Yeah,
what would you do if I got kidnapped?
I'll send them a thank you message.
You wouldn't do anything to get me back?
No, and I'll send them another message if they can take your youngest sister.
For those that of course couldn't see that, so it was a portrait of a mom with a son and her daughter on the lap.
That's a painting of Maria Luisa, Queen of Etruria, and her 2 sons, and that was painted in 1807. So the
Oh,
TikTok
wow.
gallery has hundreds of these videos. If you're fluent in Italian, you're going to be able to consume about twice as many videos as I was able to, so good for you. And my question for the panel is impressions, thoughts, and any of your favorites that stood out.
I mean, I have to say, I did like the male nude sculptures. I thought that was hilarious. So I thought, especially in a time when like on TikTok, you're getting banned for everything. So
Yeah.
TikTok, Facebook. Matter of fact, I remember there was a post I did on Facebook with a very similar sculpture of Trump, and that got banned on Facebook. So
What? Like a
I mean,
nude, like a sculpture like that, or just
yeah,
like
the
a sculpture?
sculptures very similar to those sculptures. It was
Oh
an
my
art project.
gosh.
No, not sculpture. I call it an art project. It was
Okay.
hilariously very similar to those, and Facebook banned it.
And it got dinged.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but no,
One
I
of
thought that was
my
hilarious. I think I think it's a great idea for that that gallery, because it makes them funny. It brings them to life actually.
Yeah,
So
and it's really creative, extremely creative.
so Rob, I wasn't sure, is this promoted by the gallery?
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes, it is. It's the Uffizi Gallery that's been doing it. They've had artists come and do live performances in the gallery while things are down. They've done virtual tours. They've done multilingual tours. I'm not fluent in any Japanese, Cantonese, or Mandarin, and nor I don't understand it, and I can't read it. So I know that it was one of them, but they were just one of those languages. But they're offering tours to everyone, and they're just really trying to expose the gallery. And I think that what they've done, they've stumbled onto a winning formula, in my opinion, because
Yeah,
it's
for
funny,
sure.
it makes it relevant, it makes
It
it
is
pop.
funny.
And geez, if ever I'm in Florence, I would go visit these guys just to say, I love what you did during the pandemic. Now show me your stuff.
Yeah.
B527 asked the question, was it orange? So
The statue.
the answer is yes, actually. It was pretty, it was a very orange sculpture project.
She's
I think
too
it's great
funny.
because often when we think of art and art history, we think of, a very antiquated form of expression, something that's not very current, something that's not very up to date, something that young people, younger generations, um, don't gravitate towards. So I appreciate the effort from the Uffizi Gallery of getting or trying to get young people to look at their art, to engage in their art, to expose them to their art. I mean, you have to be creative in this day and age. You can't just be the same old National Gallery of Art and think that this generation is going to be impressed by that.
Yep.
So I appreciate this.
Mhm.
I appreciate the
Yeah.
effort. It was
Very creative.
fun. It was and for me, like Neo, I like, the all male exhibit. I loved it. Loved it.
I thought
And
it was
it's funny
hilarious. I mean, I didn't like it for the same reason, I
Joe,
don't think, but
yep, but I loved it because love is love. And Joe and I talked about this earlier today because, in this day and age when people are just so hung up on homosexuality, to go back to these classic Roman and Greek sculptures. Now, if you are sculpting and you are going to spend a week crafting perfect male genitalia and some tight haunches, that might be
it might have
what
been
you're
months of work.
into,
I don't know about weeks.
right? Weeks and
Listen,
months of
Yeah.
work just on those specific areas. That's maybe indicative of what you're really into. So, I mean,
and
Yeah.
it should be
True.
noted that a lot of people who are homophobic have not studied any type of history, because if they did, they would be aware of same-sex interaction, same-sex contact in a lot of our ancient societies, particularly the Greek society.
Yes.
100%.
Very much, particularly.
Gianni,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts?
You didn't show this one, but there was one about it said like once the COVID lockdown is over, um, something like that. But it was very funny because it had a TikTok sound that is very popular right now.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, um, this bus, I'm this flight, and I'm tired, and it was just very
Oh, with
funny. So
the
it's
clap,
like,
clap,
yeah,
Soldier Boy.
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So they had that, and I really liked that one. And they had one that was like water solves all your problems. So they had a few on there that I could
Right?
understand. Yeah, they had a few on there that I could understand. That I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And like you guys said, I think it's a really, really creative way and a fun way to like get younger people to look into art, and maybe they see a portrait that they thought was really cool, and they do some research on it, and they just learn something. So I thought that's pretty
Maybe
cool.
they'll do a Gingy exhibit. Maybe they'll do a naked
Oh,
Gingy.
Gingy.
All right, so Jacqueline
Big
Robinson
Gingy.
says, so true. I know I'm aging myself, but a lot of us were introduced to classical music and operas because of Warner Brothers cartoon. B527's got more jokes. More male exhibits, please.
Especially for those of us who've been quarantined for a year. Yes.
Oh,
Male exhibits come.
All right, thank you for the hot topic, Robbie. That was a great one. Enjoyed it.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, let's get into our game show. Let's have some fun shenanigans. All right, today's game show is Ask. Real simple. We're just going to go around the horn answering random questions given to us by the Ask app. The winner will be picked by our online audience, you guys online at the end, and you'll tell us who gave the best answers. That person gets our final thought. Trying to figure out who I want to start with. I'm going to start with Gianni. Gianni Storm. All right.
Come through, Gianni. Come through, Gianni.
If you caught a goldfish that promises to fulfill your one wish, what's that wish?
For more wishes, of course.
Oh, you went with the more wishes. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's always the best answer, actually.
It's a cheat code.
Cheat code. All right, Robbie Rock. What do you value in others?
Oh, honesty.
Honesty. All right.
Love that.
All right, Lizzie Enders, have you ever completely lost it? I already know the answer to this. And what have you done?
Sorry, what's that laugh? What's that laugh?
Right.
And what have you done? Have you ever completely lost it, and what have you done?
Yes, I've completely lost it on several occasions, and it was always well deserved. What I've done, I mean, we don't have enough time to go through that. So, yes,
All right.
I've completed.
All right. If the purge was real, what would you do on that night? That's easy. If the purge was real, I'd give me a safe room or something and hide out.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you were gonna like rob a bank.
I'm not getting involved in it. That's for sure.
Have y'all seen the movie Panic Room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be me. I'm like, try to get up in here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not gonna be involved in it. That's all right. All right, and I can't speak for the grammar in this isn't my app. I didn't write the questions, so I apologize, Lizzie Enders.
What kind of business? What kind of business?
I can't speak for the grammatical errors of the app. Got to talk to the Ask App people. All right, Johnny Storm. What kind of business would you like to open?
Ooh. Film production business.
Film production. I like that one. Okay.
Hazel Valentine Productions.
Hazel Valentine. She's already producing TLS Unscripted. So yep. Get that experience in.
That's true.
All right, Robbie Rock. What is the most crazy thing you've ever done when drunk?
Glad I didn't get this question.
I'm gonna upload.
Nah, like, dude, you're talking to someone who had a decade and a half of just real alcohol issues. So, the craziest things were probably in the blackout moments.
Blackout.
He's like, I don't even know.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Have you ever climbed a tree, or climbed a building?
I've climbed things. I'm an avid climber, and I've gone back sober and gone, how the hell did I climb this? And yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lizzie Enders. How many drinks does it take to get you drunk?
I think you click through a lot of questions.
I didn't click. This was the next question.
This one specifically to me.
Just to pick that specific one for you.
Nick, you ain't slick. It depends on the alcohol. It depends on the liquor. Some certain alcohol, is more potent than others. I could drink vodka all day, like water, all day. Gin may put me out a little more quickly. A good rum, like that top shelf rum that our friend Avi bought me. Oh my God. I was like, okay, you need to slow your roll.
Mike Winter says you was fitting a lie.
This was serious. So it depends on the liquor. It depends on the alcohol.
All right, let me see what's for me. Oh, nice and easy. Rich or fame?
Fame.
I think I would go rich over fame for sure. Yeah. I maybe use my riches to get some fame, but yeah.
Fame ain't gonna pay them bills, and we know we want you to have a nice crib, nice car, all of that.
Yeah.
So we need to get
all right, last round of questions.
That's true.
All right. Oh wow. Okay, sorry, Gianni. Have you ever been caught during sex?
Caught what?
I just says ever been caught during sex.
Probably has anybody caught me during sex? And no, thankfully, thank God.
Okay. Nice and simple. All right. Oh. Okay, I think we had this question once before, but Robbie.
But I didn't get to answer this.
You're right, you didn't get to somebody else. Zombie apocalypse has started. Where will you go and what will you do?
I will get the go bag out of my closet. I will get Joe.
You
I
have a
will
go
make
bag?
contact. Oh, I've got a kit. Yeah, I've got.
He said, I will
I'm
get
out
The
the
Joe.
door
zombie
and I'm good for
apocalypse?
4 days.
Okay.
Well, no, it's a preparedness kit. We're not going to call it a zombie
Sure.
apocalypse kit. It's a preparedness kit.
Probably watches a
I,
lot of Walking Dead. So
I have 2 people to contact, and then we determine where our point B is going to be, and we make our way there.
Smart.
I'm not
We all
telling you
need to
what
have
point
a
B is
plan.
because, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Boy
We're
Scout.
going there.
Why not, Rob?
Because we're
Actually,
gonna show
funny
up.
enough, my original Boy Scout guide is in my go bag.
So
If Rob,
B527 says, I'm glad I'm not answering these questions.
if Rob can tell us what point B is, we're all gonna show up there. So yeah, keep it to
That's
yourself,
Yeah.
Rob.
Oh, okay.
Keep it to
So
yourself.
Or just tell us in the chat so I can show up because I need to place. I need to place.
It's a long haul. Good luck, buddy. But you got
This is a
we'll put a roof over
this
your
is a
head.
question. We're just gonna go with it. So Lizzie, who in this room gossips the most?
Mm. Who do you think? Elizabeth
That's a good
Eleanor.
question.
Elizabeth Eleanor.
Otherwise known as Lizzie. All right. All right. What do you keep in your basement for Neo? I keep my dog
Dead
paraphernalia
body.
in the basement. My studio's in the basement. The studio, I'm in the basement right now in my studio.
You sure it's just dog
Ooh.
paraphernalia?
Dog paraphernalia. Yeah, just the dog
Sure, that's
paraphernalia.
Dog paraphernalia.
Not the.
I think you said drug paraphernalia.
No, just dog paraphernalia, not the other.
No.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. All right.
Oh, she's keeping secrets in the basement.
Right.
All right, so that was a fun game. Audience, you guys online, comment on who you think gave the best answers, and they'll get the final thought for the show. And before we go, we got to close it out. Shout outs. I'm starting with Robbie Rock this time. Robbie Rock, shout out.
Shout out to Nova Mason. Happy birthday, buddy. Nova is a longtime friend and union member at work. And yeah, very happy birthday to Nova and Len. And hopefully Len is treating her right today. Very special hello to Alain. Thank you for joining us in the conversation today. And not sure if Crystal stuck around, but she tuned in for the first time. So I hope that Crystal stuck around for the duration. I really enjoyed the show. And thank you to all of our regulars that were just hopping all over the chat tonight.
Yeah,
awesome.
a lot of comments. I couldn't even keep up today. I got to admit, there was a lot. I appreciate all those comments. All right, Lizzie, shout out.
Shout out to my students, both at Howard and the School of New York Times. Howard ended the semester, so they're just waiting for me to grade papers and give them a grade. You better pray. And then for the School of the New York Times, it was a quick 2 weeks, but we had a lot of fun and we learned a lot. So shout out to students, not just my students, but students overall and their dedication during this pandemic. It takes a lot to get up and get online and stare at a screen and be expected to engage and learn for a minimum of 4-6 hours out of the day, 5 days a week. So shout out to my students, for all of the students out there.
All right, Gianni Storm, your shout out.
Shout out to my family and my aunts that tune in all the time. I love you guys very much. I can't wait to see you soon. Shout out to my best friends and to my little sister.
All right, and my shout out goes out to our boy Jam. I say every show he's struggling with some medical issues, so please continue to fight, continue to get better.
I think Jam is feeling a little bit better this week because he's been, responding on Facebook, being a little toasty in his
He is
comments.
doing better. He's getting better.
Toasty.
I haven't heard from Jam in months, and all of a sudden he's calling me out in a Facebook post.
Yeah, wish you the best. Love you, my friend. Love you, my friend. All right.
Love you.
All right. All right. And hey, if you want to get on shout outs, get on our host social media pages. We may just shout you out loud. All right. And that is it for the show. That's all the time we have. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. We hope that maybe you learned something, gained a new perspective, or got some things off your chest. Remember, we need you to like, follow, subscribe. Be sure to share. Tomorrow, check out YouTube for clips and share your favorite moments. TLSShow.com or search Truth Lies Shenanigans. Our next live show is Sunday, May 2nd. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 p.m. Pacific. Don't forget, next...
hair for Sunday.
You what?
I comb my hair.
You might comb your hair?
Yeah, I might comb my hair.
And don't forget, Gianni and Olivia E. will be holding it down for you for Wednesday nights at this time throughout the summer. They're a lot of fun. I think you will have so much fun with them and enjoy their commentary because they can be really hilarious. All right.
Oh my God.
All right. And you get a final sneak peek this Friday, 6:30 p.m. on Instagram. So make sure you check them out. Looks like our winner and the final thought of the day is, it looks like it's going to be Robbie Rock. Robbie Rock. You got all the votes. Got all the votes, Robbie Rock. All right, Robbie, close this out.
Final thought. I am going to circle back to what Lizzie said about just helping someone across the street. It's in us. It's in every single one of us to be a good citizen. If you just show someone a random act of kindness and consideration during these trying times, you may just turn their day around completely. And you know what? Doing something good, you're going to feel a little bit better about yourself also. So be kind. It's so important these days.
I love it. I just want to point out, V527 says Cinco de Mayo's next Wednesday, so Gianni Storm.
So everyone's homework for Cinco de Mayo is, what are we actually celebrating? It ain't Mexican Independence Day, y'all. So go look it up. What are we celebrating for Cinco de Mayo? Look it up.
Maybe that'll be maybe
an
Gianni
excuse
Storm
for a
will
party.
All right.
Yeah.
That'll be their show next week. What is Cinco de Mayo? Okay, all right. So Gianni, Bob, Lizzie, and our people behind the scenes, Jose and Olivia, thank you so much. I want to thank you guys, our audience, for joining us. We will see all of you next time.
Oh, yeah.